أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون. صدق الله العظيم.
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير. رب زدني علما رب زدني علما رب زدني علما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, beautiful sisters. Inshallah, we will start just number 18 today. Surah Al-Mu'minun. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون. The believers have attained true success, those who in their prayers humble themselves. So those who have accepted the message of Prophet ﷺ and have acknowledged him as their guide and followed the way of life taught by him, they have attained the true success. And what is the true success? What is that? It's the home of eternity, where the blessings, the joys of which are eternal, they are never ending. Right? Every person wants to be successful in this life. No matter what we have, we want to move on to a greater, to a higher level of success, right? We're constantly chasing success from one level to the other. We want to keep going further and further ahead, but we reach the end of our lives and we haven't reached the end of our desires and our wishes. But then the person who reaches Jannah, then he truly has attained success. Why? Because once he enters Jannah, he will not desire anything beyond it. Because Jannah is the highest level of success. It is the greatest level that a human being can get to. Right? There is no place that is better than Jannah for a human being. It is indeed the highest achievement, and this is for whom? For the believers. Those who in their prayers they humble themselves. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. So khushu is to bow down, right? To be humble. Khushu of the heart is to fear and to stand in awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then khushu of the body is to bow his head and lower his gaze and his voice, right? And in salah, one is required to show khushu both of the heart and of the body. And those who have khushu in their prayers, meaning they're not just performing their prayer, they're not just saying their prayer, they're performing them with excellence, with humility, with submissiveness, with the fear of Allah, then they are actually conversing with their Lord. It's a meaningful prayer. In a hadith we learn that the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah has made 5 prayers obligatory. If anyone performs ablution from the well, offers them at their right time and observes perfectly their bowing and submissiveness in them, it is the guarantee of Allah that He will pardon him. So, khushu in prayer is something that will lead a person to paradise. We see that salah is the way to success. It is the way to success. So we should pay special attention to not just performing our prayers, but rather perfecting our prayers in order to secure a place in paradise for ourselves. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. Who avoid whatever is vain and frivolous, right? So, they turn away from useless, irrelevant, unnecessary, meaningless actions, meaningless conversations, meaningless indulgences. They avoid all of this, right? And they show no inclination or interest towards them. And a believer remembers that this life is also a test. So anything that is extra, that is wasteful, that is not conducive to achieving his goals, what does the believer do there? He avoids it. He has focus in his life. He's not confused. He's not lost. He knows that he cannot afford to waste his precious time. He cannot afford to waste his mental bandwidth on things that are irrelevant, things that are going to be a waste, right? He has a sense of responsibility at all times. This makes him behave seriously and responsibly, just like a student who is taking an exam with his mind and body and soul all absorbed in it. So just like the student, while he is on a time crunch, he cannot get distracted by things around him. So is the believer, such as the believer, he cannot get distracted by these worldly attractions. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ. Who observe zakah. So, meaning they engage in matters that purify the soul. They engage in actions that purify their character and their speech and their wealth, because zakah basically means to purify. So these people, they stay away from meaningless talks, meaningless actions, and then they engage in things that will purify them. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ, who strictly guard their private parts. They are modest in every sense of the word, right? Every sense. They do not only conceal their private parts, but also those that are allowed to expose. They guard their modesty, they lower their gaze, they guard their thoughts, they guard their hearts, right? And they only fulfill their desires through ways that Allah has declared lawful. And what are those ways? إِلَّا عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِمْ, save from their wives or those whom their right hands possess, for with regard to them, they are free from blame. So what do we learn here? That there are lawful ways. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us lawful ways to fulfill our desires, and that is our spouse, right? As for those who seek beyond that, they are transgressors. So whoever seeks a relationship that is beyond what Allah has made lawful, then those are the transgressors. So no matter what shape or form it takes, whether it takes the form of prostitution or pornography or any kind of contract that is illegal in our religion, the believers keep away from that. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِأَمَانَاتِهِمْ وَعَهْدِهِمْ رَاعُونَ, who are true to their trusts and their covenants. And then they have, these people, the believers, when they have promised something or when some amana has been imposed upon them, then they pay attention to it. They don't take this matter lightly. And these amanat, these trusts could be in the form of wealth, it could be in the form of a secret that is shared with them, a word that is a message that is entrusted to them, an obligation that is imposed upon them, a duty that is given to them, because trusts take different forms. It can even be a responsibility that is given to a person. So their promises, whether those promises they have made them with Allah or with the people, then both the believers who will be successful, they are attentive to their trusts and their promises. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَلَىٰ صَلَاتِهِمْ يُحَافِظُونَ, who guards their prayers. So at the beginning of the surah, khushu in prayer was mentioned, and over here, guarding the prayer is mentioned. So again, why? Because salah is not something that a person can say, yes, I prayed my fajr and so I can leave my isha. No, a person cannot say, yes, I perform my prayers properly in Ramadan and now I can neglect them. No, salah is a part of life. And for us in our lives also, we should be most concerned about our prayer, guarding the prayer, the timings of the prayer, the proper manner of performing the prayer, the arkan, the components, and paying attention to the details of the prayer. So those who live like this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ, such are the inheritors. Inheritors of what? الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ, that shall inherit paradise, and in it they shall abide forever. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسَ. What is Firdaus? It's the highest level of paradise. So that is what should be our goal as well, and that is what we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well, right? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when you ask Allah for Jannah, ask for Firdaus. And for this we have to beg Allah, and we also have to see whether we are doing these actions or not. So all these actions that are mentioned in the former verses. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ سُلَالَةٍ مِنْ طِينٍ, we created man out of the extract of clay. Then we made him into a drop of like germ, then we placed it in a safe depository, as in the womb of their mother. Then we made this drop into a clot, then we made the clot into a lump, then we made the lump into bones, then we clothed the bones with flesh, and then we caused it to grow into another creation. Thus most blessed is Allah, the best of all those that create. So what was man? What was he at the beginning of his creation? And what has he become at the completion of his creation? Completely different, two different things, right? If you compare the fetus with a fully formed human being, then again there's such a huge difference, right? And these verses, these various stages of the creation of man have been cited to prove that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all blessed, and that there's no human language that can describe the praise of Allah, which He is worthy of. So who can create better than Him? Nobody can create better than Him. He is the only creator in this world, in this universe. ثُمَّ إِنَّكُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ لَمَيِّتُونَ, thereafter you are destined to die. So Allah created you, you live this life here, and at the end of this life you are going to die. And then on the day of resurrection you shall certainly be raised up. So he's not only created us, but then he has the power to raise us again after he causes us to die. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا فَوْقَكُمْ سَبْعَ طَرَائِقَ. We have indeed fashioned above you 7 paths. Never were we unaware of the task of creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, despite the massive size of this universe, we have not been of our creation unaware. Right? That the creation is so huge, but whose creation is it? It's Allah's creation, and constantly it is under Allah's observation, and we are also His creation. He cares for us also, right? So He provides for us, He nurtures us also. Remember that nothing happens except by the izn of Allah. So if the sun is rising and setting, that is also happening with Allah's permission, right? If there is rainfall happening, then that is happening by the permission of Allah. If the seasons changing, if the people are being born and people are dying, how is it happening? By the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So nothing happens in this universe except by the permission of Allah. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً بِقَدْرٍ فَأَسْكَنَّاهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. We sent down water from the sky in right measure and caused it to stay in the earth, and we have the power to cause it to vanish in the manner we please. So water is sent down as we need it to fulfill the various needs of the earth, right? So when the rain falls down from the sky, it doesn't just evaporate, it doesn't just disappear, it settles in the earth. Right? How? That either it settles in the surface of the earth in the form of pools, water in the form of ponds, lakes, rivers, or it gets absorbed by the earth into the groundwater reservoirs. So do not forget Him while you live in this life, right? And then in these gardens which grow as a result of rain, there's so much benefit for you. So there's so much fruit that grows. You can buy, you can sell it, you can make money, and you also eat it. You also use it for yourself. And it's amazing that all of this is a result of what? It's a result of what? Water that falls down from the sky. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this earth is entirely benefiting you. وَشَجَرَةً تَخْرُجُ مِنْ طُورِ سِينَاءَ. And we also produce the tree which springs forth from Mount Sinai, containing oil and sauce for those that eat. So this is the olive tree, which is the most important product of the lands around the Mediterranean Sea. The olive tree can last for up to 2,000 years, subhanallah, 2,000 years or so. So much so that some trees in Palestine are said to be existing since the time of Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Imagine, since the time of Prophet Isa alayhi salam. So this tree, the fruit of which when you press, you don't get juice, but you get oil. And this oil, it is food also, and at the same time you also use it as an ointment. So olive oil is good for eating, and it's also used for application because it comes from a blessed tree. وَإِنَّ لَكُمْ فِي الْأَنْعَامِ لَعِبْرَةً. And indeed there is also a lesson for you in cattle. We provide you with drink out of what they have in their bellies, and you have many other benefits in them. You eat of them. So we read this in Surah Nahl as well. And are carried on them and also on ships. So you ride on these animals, and you also ride on other things that you have made yourselves. فَقَالَ الْمَلَأُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. But the notables among his people had refused to believe and said, this is none other than a mortal like yourselves, who desires to attain superiority over you. Had Allah wanted to send any messengers, He would have sent down angels. We have heard nothing like this in the time of our forebears of old, that humans were sent as messengers. So what is happening? These people, they are falsely accusing Him. Of what? Of using His... They're accusing Him that He's using His religion to gain superiority over you, because they're accusing His sincere intentions. And this accusation is an old objection which has always been raised against those who tried to reform the people. He is a person who has been seized with a little madness, so wait for a while, perhaps he will improve. So they say that perhaps he will get over this, maybe this is just a phase, or very soon he will die, or soon there will be history. You said, my Lord, come to my help at the accusation that I am lying. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, help me, my people are not listening. And he said this after 950 years. He was so patient. He said after 950 years that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after so many years, they are not listening to me. So please come and help me. Thereupon we revealed to him, saying, build the ark under our eyes and according to our revelation, and when our command comes to pass and the oven boils over, take on board a pair each from every species, and also take our household except those of them against whom sentence has already been passed, and do not plead to me on behalf of the wrongdoers. They are doomed to be found. So we learned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him how to build the ship. He was the engineer of the project, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the project manager himself. And then Allah says, those from your family who have not believed, they will not embark the ship. And who was that? His son and his wife. And in fact, Nuh alayhi salam still tried to have his son board the ship, but then his son refused. فَإِذَا اسْتَوَيْتَ أَنْتَ وَمَن مَعَكَ عَلَى الْفُلْكِ. And then, when you and those accompanying you are firmly seated in the ark, say, thanks be to Allah who has delivered us from the wrongdoing people. So be thankful because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved you from the wicked people. And say, my Lord, make my landing a blessed landing, for you are the best of those who can cause people to land in safety. So whenever we're also arriving at a new place, whether it is a new school, a new masjid, or it could be a new workplace, right? A new city or a new house, any place that is new, when you get there, say, Rabbi Anzilni Munzalam Mubaraka, oh my Lord, let me land at a blessed landing place. This is a beautiful dua. So this means that make my arrival over here blessed, meaning bless me through my coming over here. You give me benefit from this change that has happened in my life. Put some khair in it and bless it for me, and have put barakah in it. Inna fi dhalika la'ayatin wa in kunna lamubtalin. There are great signs in the story, and surely we do put people to test. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we are certainly going to test our servants. Nuh alayhi salam, he was tested for 950 years. None of us is going to live for 950 years, and this means that any test is not going to be longer than the test of Nuh alayhi salam. Any test we face in our lives, it's going to be shorter than that. It's going to be lesser than that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن كُنَّا لَمُبْتَلِينَ. But for sure, every servant of Allah is going to be tested. لَمُبْتَلِينَ, surely will be tested. Test is necessary because this is what life is all about. All people are tested, and successful are those who make something of their lives. ثُمَّ أَنْشَأْنَا مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ قَرْنًا آخَرِينَ. Then after them we brought forth another generation. So these are the people of Ad, right? Who were raised to power after the people of Nuh alayhi salam. And we sent among them a messenger from among themselves, saying, serve Allah, you have no God other than He. Do you have no fear? The notables among his people who had refused to believe and who denied the meeting of the hereafter, and those whom we had endowed with ease and comfort in this life, cried out, this is no other than a mortal like yourselves, who eats what you eat and drinks what you drink. So, the fact is that each time Allah sent a messenger, this was typically the reaction of the people. And what was that? Arrogance and refusal to believe. Especially on the part of who? On those who were given luxury in the worldly life, right? Meaning those who were given more blessings, people who were more affluent. Why? Because then they begin to take them for granted. And these people, they become arrogant because of them. Because of these blessings, right? And then they think they are good, which is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is blessing them. They may be right, which is why we are fine. But sadly, these are the ones who oppose the truth the most. They are the ones who oppose the messengers the most, right? They are the ones who are the most arrogant. So they say, what's so special about him? He doesn't eat any superfood, or he doesn't have any superpowers. Why should we accept him as a messenger? وَلَئِنْ أَطَعْتُمْ بَشَرًا مِثْلَكُمْ إِنَّكُمْ إِذًا لَخَاسِرُونَ. If you were to obey a human being like yourselves, you will certainly be losers, right? So they accuse the prophets of wanting power, right? But what are they doing themselves here? They are trying to get that same power by telling people to follow them instead, not follow the prophet, but follow these people instead. So isn't it ironic that they accuse the prophets for wanting power, but this is exactly what they're wanting for themselves? Does he promise you that when you are dead and are reduced to dust and bones, you will be brought forth to life? So They say, how can he promise that? It doesn't make sense. Who will provide a proof that he is correct, right? Or who would come back as a witness to prove what he is saying is true after they are dead, right? How is that possible? So whatever he's telling you, that is just false threats. That is not possible at all. Far-fetched, utterly far-fetched is what you are being promised. So this means that it's impossible. Resurrection, it's not possible. There's no day of judgment. There's no afterlife. This man has just made it all up. There is no other life than the life of the world. We shall live here, and here shall we die, and we are not going to be raised again. This man has forged a mere lie in the name of Allah, and we shall never believe what he says. The messenger said, my Lord, come to my help as they're accusing of me lying. So the Prophet here, he says that I have done my best to convey the message, but these people are not believing. So, oh my Lord, come and help me. Rabbin Surni, come and help me. He answered, a short while and they shall be repenting. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, there's a time for everything. Just be patient, just a little while longer, and then what will happen? These people who deny you, they will become regretful, and then so it happened. Then a mighty blast quite justly overtook them, and we reduced them to a rubble, so away with the wrongdoing folk. So, you see, people who reject Allah, they don't deserve the blessings of Allah. And Allah gives them blessings for some time, but then eventually their time comes to an end. And the word wusa here means the rubbish which is brought by flood waters and is deposited on the banks to rot there, right? So, basically they just become like garbage. Then after them we brought forth other generations. No nation can outstrip its term, nor can it put it back. So this means that for every nation was a time of existence which was neither going to be increased nor was it going to be decreased. So if within that time they believed, good for them. And if in that time they chose disbelief, then that was only their fault, because messengers were sent to warn them. Then we sent our messengers in succession. Whenever a messenger came to his people, they rejected him, calling him a liar. Thereupon we made each people to follow the other to its doom, reducing them to mere tales of the past, scourged to be the people who do not believe. So one nation came, they disbelieved. They got deceived by this worldly life, right? Allah sent a messenger to them to remind them of the purpose of their lives, to correct their behavior. But what happened? They rejected. And then after some time, their time expired, so they were finished, they died. And then again, another nation came in their place, another generation, and then same history repeated itself. They also got deceived by this life, and Allah sent them messengers, and what happened ultimately? They're all just stories, right? They're history. So do we want to be just history like them, or do we want that once we die, we actually live in an everlasting and eternal life of joy, right? Do we want to be amongst the disbelievers and perished nations, or do we want to be amongst the believers who are rewarded with an everlasting Jannah and an eternal life in Jannah? Then we sent Musa and his brother Harun with our signs and a clear authority to Pharaoh and to his chiefs, but they behaved superciliously and they were haughty. So they were highly arrogant and tyrant rulers. They said, shall we put faith in two mortals like ourselves when their people are slaves to us? So there's nothing that makes them different from us. They say that they don't have any supernatural abilities, and their nation are also, they serve for us in servitude, right? They are abidun, meaning they are slaves to us. And what was their nation? It was the Bani Israel, that they are a slave nation to us, meaning socially also they are lesser than us. So the Pharaoh, he was so arrogant, he said, why should I listen to a slave nation, and why should I believe in a prophet from a slave nation? So they rejected them, calling them liars, and they too eventually became of those that were destroyed. And we made Maryam's son and his mother a sign, and we gave them refuge in a lofty ground, a peaceful site with springs flowing in it. So Maryam and salam, they were provided a special place where they lived, where the blessings of this life were given to them. Flowing water, and flowing water is a huge, huge blessing which we really take for granted. How many places there are in the world still today where people don't have running water, they have to travel in order to get water, or they have to wait for hours and hours in order to get water, right? And then we just take it for granted. We don't even think twice before wasting all that water. We just let the tap running when we're doing smallest of the chores. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this running water is a huge blessing. Ya ayyuhal rusulu kulu min at-tayyibati wa amalu salihah. Messengers, partake of the things that are clean and act righteously. I know well all that you do. So all of the prophets eat from the good foods and work righteousness, right? Meaning don't deprive yourselves of the blessings Allah has given. Enjoy them, but once you enjoy them, also do something good, right? Use them, benefit from them, but then also produce something good. So good food, tayyib bad food, and good ibadah, they go hand in hand. We have to consume that which is good so that we can produce that which is good, right? Because what we eat has an effect on our body, which will have an effect on our energy levels, which will directly impact our actions. So don't just fill yourselves, especially when you break your fast. Don't just fill yourselves, but rather think about the quality of the food that you are feeding yourself, so that you can do something good and you can do amal salih. وَإِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةٌ وَاحِدَةٌ. This community of yours is one community, and I am your Lord, so hold me alone in fear. And all of the prophets of Allah, they brought the same religion. And what is that religion? It's the religion of Islam, of surrender, of submission to Allah. And then who is Allah, right? They all talked about the oneness of Allah. They all talked about Tawheed. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this all is one community. So just fear Him. But people later cut up their religion into bits, each group rejoicing in what they have. So what have they done? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made us into one community, but what did the people do? They have fallen into division, into sectarianism, and this is something that we are forbidden from. We are not allowed to become divided. فَذَرْهُمْ, so leave him. So leave them immersed in their heedlessness till an appointed time. Right? Why? Because they will soon find out what the result of their division is going to be. أَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّمَا نُمِدُّهُمْ بِهِ مِنْ مَالٍ وَبَنِينَ. Do they fancy that our continuing to give them wealth and children means that we are busy lavishing on them all kinds of good? Nay, they do not perceive the reality of the matter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do they think this is a reward? Right? Do they think this is good? No, they do not perceive, they don't even realize, because when a person finds sinning pleasurable, then that is a huge problem. When he thinks that sinning is pleasurable, then sinning is not even a sin, then he does not even know that he has to repent for it, he has to ask for forgiveness for it, or he has to stop doing it. So that is a huge problem, that's a huge trial in itself. We are busy lavishing in them all kinds of good. Surely those who stand in awe of fear of their Lord, who have full faith in the signs of Allah, who associate none with their Lord in His divinity, who give whatever they give in charity with their hearts trembling at the thought that they are destined to return to their Lord. It is these who hasten to do good works, and why? In so doing with one another. So this means that people who do not live a carefree life, right, they have the taqwa of Allah, right, and then they believe in the signs of their Lord, right, and then they also do not do any shirk, right, and then they're fearful of Allah. And why are they fearful? Because they want that their good deeds are accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When they do the good deeds, they really want those deeds to be accepted, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they hasten to do good deeds. They are the ones who rush in doing good deeds. They don't delay them. They are the sabiqun al-awwalun, right? Who are these people? They are the pious and righteous servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they are eager to do more and more deeds, right? Because when a person is eager for more, then what happens? He doesn't stop. He doesn't become lazy. He never thinks that what he has done is enough, right? He keeps going, and he realizes that there's need to improve. Like sky is the room for improvement. So he keeps trying to keep going further and further, and like this, he gets ahead of others, right? So these are sabiqun al-awwalun. When they hear a command, they are the first ones to go and work on it. وَلَا نُكَلِّفُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا وَلَدَيْنَا كِتَابٌ يَنطِقُ. We do not lay a burden on anyone beyond his capacity. We have a book with us that speaks the truth about everyone, and they shall in no wise be wronged. So neither a person will be accused of and punished for something he has not done, nor will he be deprived of the full reward of a good act that he had done. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a book of records, and every single deed of ours is being recorded in it. وَقُلُوبُهُمْ فِي غَمْرَةٍ مِّنْ هَٰذَا. Nay, their hearts are lost in ignorance of all this, and their deeds too vary from the way mentioned above. They will persist in these deeds. So the fact that our deeds are being recorded, and this book in which our deeds are recorded, it's going to speak, it's going to narrate to us what we have done, but many times we don't even think about it until we seize with our chastisement those of them that are given to luxuriant ways. They will then begin to groan. Put a stop to your groaning now. Surely no help shall be provided to you from us. So this means that do not cry out today. You will not be helped. قَدْ كَانَتْ آيَاتِي تُتْلَى. My signs were rehearsed to you, and you turned back on your heels and took to flight. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you did not even like to listen, right? You did not pay heed to what my messengers told you, but the signs I sent you. So don't cry today. Nobody is going to come and help you. مُسْتَكْبِرِينَ بِهِ سَامِرًا تَهْجُرُونَ. Behaving arrogantly and making fun and talking nonsense about the book in your mighty chats. So, meaning you spoke evil about my ayat, about those who delivered my ayat to you, because the Prophet ﷺ was mocked at. They made fun of him, and they made fun of the Quran. So those who make fun of the Quran, this is a crime. أَفَلَمْ يَدَّبَّرُوا. Did they never ponder over this word of Allah? Or has he, to wit the messenger, brought something the like of which did not come to their forefathers of you? Meaning the Prophet ﷺ is not telling you something that's strange. This message is logical. It's been there from the beginning. Allah is one, so worship him. Your life is temporary. There is eternal hereafter. Prepare for that. He's not the only one who came with the message. Former prophets came with the same message. Or is it that they were unaware of their messenger and were therefore repelled by him for he was a stranger to them? So how can he be a stranger to them? Because everybody believed in the former prophets, so why cannot they believe in this prophet? يَقُولُونَ بِهِ جَنَّةٌ. Or do they say that there is madness in him? Nay, he has taught them the truth, and it is the truth that most of them disdain. Were the truth to follow their desires, the order of the heavens and the earth and those who dwell in them would have been ruined. Nay, the fact is that we have brought to them their own remembrance, and yet it is from their own remembrance that they are turning away. This is so true that if everything was according to our desires, then what would happen? This world would be a total chaos, a total mess. So with regards to the matters of the deen and with regards to the matters of the dunya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken this control with himself, that it will be according to his wishes and not ours. وَإِنَّكَ لَتَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَىٰ صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. You are calling them to a straight way, but those who do not believe in the hereafter are ever prone to deviate from the right way. So meaning they don't want to follow the right path, right? Even if they see it, they don't want to follow it. Were we to be merciful to them and remove from them their present afflictions, they would persist in their transgression, blindly wandering on. So this relates to the famine of Makkah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, even if I remove this difficulty from them, they will still not believe. وَلَقَدْ أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْعَذَابِ. They are such that we seize them with chastisement, yet they do not humble themselves before their Lord, nor do they retreat. Until we opened upon them the door of a severe punishment, then lo, in this state they become utterly despaired of any good. So, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts us through difficulties in this life, right? So that we humble ourselves before Allah. We think of him, we turn to him, we pray to him, we remember him. But then what happens? Many people, despite going through these ups and downs in life, don't turn to Allah. Why? Because وَهُوَ الَّذِي ذَرَاكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَإِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. Because وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنْشَأَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ. Because it is he who has endowed you with the faculties of hearing and sight, and has given you hearts to think. Scarcely do you give thanks. So They don't show gratitude for the blessings of the eyes and the ears and the mind and the hearts, right? They don't use their minds, their hearts, their eyes, their ears. They just don't see it. Allah has given us all of these faculties so so not just for the pleasure and enjoyment, but for finding the truth, for adopting the truth, for obeying Him, for pursuing His pleasure, right? But qalilan ma tashkurun, Allah says, how little is it that you are grateful. These senses Allah has given to us as an amana, as tools to benefit from. If we don't benefit from them, then we are being ungrateful. وَهُوَ الَّذِي ذَرَاكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَإِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. It is He who has dispersed you all around the earth, and it is unto Him that you shall all be mustered. It is He who gives life and causes death, and He holds mastery over the alternation of night and day. Do you not understand this? Nay, but they say the like of what their predecessors of yore had said. قَالُوا إِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَإِذَامًا. They say, is it that when we are dead and have been reduced to dust and bones, shall we then be raised up again? So, meaning for centuries, people have been talking about the Day of Judgment, right? And it still hasn't arrived. So, though whatever you say, whatever you threaten us about, it's not a true promise. It's just a false tale. It's an old tale. Asatirul Awwaleen. Ask them, whose is the earth and those who are in it? Tell us if you know. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ask them that who is the owner of this world, right? And they will surely say, Allah, right? Then why do you not take heed? So if you acknowledge this, if you acknowledge that Allah is the sole owner, right, then why cannot you acknowledge that only He is worthy of worship, right? Why this hypocrisy? Why this arrogance? Why this pride that you know in your heart that there is some entity, some divine entity who's taking care of everything, but then why cannot you worship that one divine entity? Why cannot you acknowledge that one divine entity? Then again, ask them, whose is the earth and those who are in it? Tell us if you know. They will surely say, Allah. Then why do you not take heed? And then ask them, who is the Lord of the seven heavens, the Lord of the great throne? They will again say, Allah. Will you not then fear Allah? So this means that why are you not afraid of rebellion against Him when you know that He is the sole owner of the seven heavens and the seven worlds? Then will you not be afraid of Him? Why are you not afraid of Him? Ask them, say, if you indeed know to whom belongs the dominion over all things, who is it that grants asylum, but against whom no asylum is available? They will surely say, the dominion over all things belongs to Allah. Say, why are you then deluded? We have brought before them the truth, and there is no doubt that they are lying. So the truth has come to them, and when they say that there's going to be no hereafter, there's no hour coming, then they are lying because they have no proof of their claim, right? They can see the truth, but their arrogance and their pride, it does not let them accept it, right? Everything is so clear in front of them, but they're just denying it because of their arrogance and because of their pride. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, whatever they are claiming that there's no hereafter, there's no hour coming, they are the ones who are saying, who are telling the false things, right? Because they don't have a proof for their claims. Never did Allah take unto Himself any son, nor is there any God other than He. Had there been any other gods, each God would have taken his creatures away with him, and each would have rushed to overpower the other. Glory be to Allah from all that they characterize Him with. So meaning there would definitely be power struggles, rivalry up in the heavens also. And because of that, this universe would be in total chaos, right? Why? Because everybody's power hungry. If there are two gods up there, they would both be fighting for the final power, for the final throne. عالم الغيب والشهادة فتعالى عما يشركون. He knows both what is visible and what is not visible. Exalted is Allah above all that they associate with Him. Pray, O Muhammad, my Lord, if you should bring this courage of which they had been warned in my presence, then do not include me, my Lord, among these wrongdoing people. Surely we are able to show you what we warn them against. O Muhammad, repel evil in the best manner. We are well aware of all that they say about you. So, repel, as in repel means when they do evil to you, then don't do evil in return. How should you repel it? How should you counter it? With goodness, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, idfa' billati hiya ahsan. When you want to react, then your reaction should be ahsan. It should be better than the evil what that was done to you, right? It should be something good that you do in return. Right? This is a principle that we should adopt in our lives as well. It's very difficult, but the fact is that there's no other way, because if we begin to respond with like for like, then there's no outcome. It's only going to further aggravate the situation. So avoid that and take comfort in the fact that nahnu a'lamu bima yasifun. Allah knows what people are doing, but what happens? Shaitan, he doesn't let you sit in peace, right? So وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ حَمَزَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ, and pray, my Lord, I seek your refuge from the suggestions of the evil ones. I even seek your refuge, my Lord, lest they should approach me. So this means that I don't want Shaitan to even be present with me. I don't want him to approach me, to come near me, because if he's present with me, next to me, he is going to whisper, and if he whispers, then I'm doomed. There's no way I can control myself. So we are told that we need to seek refuge from Shaitan. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت. They shall persist in their deeds until when death comes to any one of them, he will say, my Lord, send me back to the world. So these people, when they die, they will say, I have to fix too many things. I have too many things I need to take care of. I have so many unfinished businesses, so many long plans, right? What happened? Shaitan took the better of me and I wasted my life. But death is definite. It is coming. So remember death and prepare for it, because once you go there, then you will not be able to come back. Nobody is sent back from there to come back and fix their problems. لَعَلِّي أَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا فِيمَا تَرَكْتُ. That I have left behind, I am likely to do good. Nay, it is merely a word that he is uttering. There is a barrier behind all of them who are dead, until the day when they will be raised up. So when a person will say that this at the time of death, also that, oh Allah, one more year, one more day, or maybe just a few more chances. No, it's not accepted then. It's just a word that he's saying, because he was given enough chances in this life, and now there is a barrier until the day of judgment, meaning now he's in transit in the middle, he's in barzakh, he cannot go ahead. Nor can he go back. So now he has to wait for the trumpet to be blown. Now he has to wait for the day of judgment, where he would be brought back to life again. فَإِذَا نُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ, and then no sooner the trumpet is blown, then there will remain no kinship among them that day, nor will they ask one another. So this means that when the trumpet is blown, when the day comes, the father, the mother, the children, none will recognize each other. And even if they recognize each other, they will not care about each other. They will run from each other. They will not even ask about each other, right? They will not be able to help each other. Everyone would be calling out, nafsi, nafsi, myself, myself. They would only be concerned about themselves. So on that day, nobody would be able to come for your help. فَمَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. It will be an hour when those whose scales are heavy, they alone will attain success. So we know that the Prophet ﷺ said the heaviest thing which will be put on the believer's scale on the day of resurrection will be his good akhlaq. Right? And then likewise certain words, they are very heavy, very heavy. You see, we say a lot of some words like, for example, in the morning we talk a lot, in the evening we talk a lot, right? But there are certain words which if we say, they will be heavy on this scale, right? And what are these words? Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallahi al-azim, right? These words are beautiful, these are light on the tongue, and they are heavy on the scale. So let's try and make the scale of our good deeds heavy, inshallah. وَمَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ فِي جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدُونَ. And those whose scales are light, those will be the ones who will have courted loss. They will abide in hell. So this is what we need to be afraid of, because this life is so short, time is limited, and we need to earn some deeds over here that will have weight on day of judgment, right? Because those whose scales are light, they are the ones who will lose their souls, and they will be in the hell, and they will live there forever. The fire shall scorch their faces, exposing their jaws. Are you not those to whom my revelations were recited, and you dubbed them as lies? They will say, our Lord, our misfortune prevailed over us. We were indeed an erring people. Rabbana akhrijna minha. Our Lord, take us out of this. Then if we revert to evil doing, we shall indeed be wrongdoers. Allah will say, away from me, stay where you are and do not address me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, do not speak to me, do not address me today. Why? Because إِنَّهُ كَانَ فَرِيقٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِي. You are those that when a party of my servants said, our Lord, we believe, so forgive us and have mercy on us. For you are the best of those that are merciful. You made a laughing stock of them, and your hostility to them caused you to forget me, and you smiled simply kept laughing. So, laughing at a person who believes in Allah for doing something for Allah, this is a crime. You can say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry here because his believers were laughed at, because his messengers were laughed at. So, these people, they will be on the day of, when they are in hell, they would be burnt in a way where their skin would burn and their jaws would be exposed. Why? Because they mocked the believers. Inni jazaytuhum al-yawma bima sabaru. Lo, I have rewarded them this day for their steadfastness, so that they alone are triumphant. So they were the losers in your eyes, but today they are the successful people, my believers. Even though you made fun of them, today it is them who are successful. Then Allah will ask them, for how many years did you stay on earth? They will say, we stayed for a day or part of a day. Ask of those who keep count of this, right? So this entire life will seem like a day or just a part of the day. Because really compared to the akhirah, what is this life? It's nothing. Compared to the age of the universe, how long is our life? It's nothing at all. قَالَ إِن لَبِثْتُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. He will say, you stayed only for a while, if you only knew that. Did you imagine that we created you without any purpose and that you will not be brought back to us? Right? So how could you think like that? How could you think that Allah will create all of this in vain? That your life, that you will live and you have feelings and you suffer and you enjoy all of this. You are tested, you go through so much, all of this for no reason. How could you think that Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, He would create all of this for no reason, right? There's nothing in this world that He has not created for any reason. You know, my dad, he always used to say that for appendix, the scientists, they say that appendix is a small part in besides the intestines that is made for no reason, and if in case we have to take it out, it's okay, it's not going to harm our body. But then he always used to say that there's nothing in this world that was made without a reason. So maybe the science has not discovered that reason. They have not come to the point where they can, admit the benefits of appendix. They just completely deny that it's there for no reason. Maybe they have not discovered it yet, but our Lord, He has not made anything in this world that has no purpose. وَمَن يَدْعُ مَعَ اللَّهِ إِلَٰهًا. He who invokes any other God along with Allah, one for whom he has no evidence, his reckoning is with his Lord alone. Indeed, these unbelievers shall not prosper. And say, O Muhammad, my Lord, forgive us and have mercy on us. You are the best of those that are merciful. So this is such a short dua, but such a meaningful dua. O Allah, forgive, pardon my sins. Arham, have mercy on me so that I can do something good. Wa anta khairur rahimin. You are the best of those who show mercy. Such a beautiful dua. Rabbi khfir warham wa anta khairur rahimin. So we have to learn this dua, and we have to keep doing the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we also learn here that fighting against our soul is such a big struggle, right? So this dua will help us fight against our soul. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us shade under His throne on the day of judgment, inshallah. This is the end of Surah Al-Mu'minun. We will now listen to the recitation of Surah An-Nur.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سورة أنزلناها وفرضناها وأنزلنا فيها آيات بينات لعلكم تذكرون. الزانية والزاني فاجلدوا كل واحد منهما 100 جلدة ولا تأخذكم بهما رأفة في دين الله إن كنتم تؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر وليشهد عذابهما طائفة من المؤمنين. صدق الله العظيم.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Surah An-Nur. Suratun anzalnaha wa faradnaha wa anzalna fiha ayatin bayyinatin la'allakum tazakkarun. This is a surah which we have revealed and which we have made obligatory. We have revealed in it clear instructions so that you may take heed. Right? So, we must remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed this surah. The verses of the surah are the words of Allah alone. The commands given in the surah, the word of the Lord of the heavens of the earth, right? These are the commands of who? Of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who knows most, the one who is the most wise, and the one who is the most fair as well. Azaniyatu wazani, those who fornicate, whether female or male, flog each one of them with 100 lashes, and let not tenderness for them deter you what pertains to Allah's religion, if you do truly believe in Allah and the last day, and let a party of believers witness their punishment, right? So zina is an evil action because firstly it is the height of immodesty, and secondly it is the source of much evil for the individuals who are involved in it and the communities that they live in, right? And Allah has declared zina unlawful. And it is something that's not permissible, which is why we learn that zina does not coexist with iman, right? Meaning when a person commits zina, then what happens? The nur of iman leaves his heart, right? يَنْزَعُ مِنْهُ نُورُ الْإِمَانَ فِي الزِّينَ. The nur of iman is taken away from him when he's committing the act of zina. This is why zina is unlawful, and so any door that leads to zina is also right. Any door, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La taqrabu zina. Don't even go near to zina, right? Because zina is something, it's allowed. It will not happen once. It will happen many times. It will not just affect the people who are doing it. It will affect other people as well. It will disturb the balance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has maintained in this world. It will lead to many, many evils. Right? And then the Prophet ﷺ said, from among the signs of the hour are the following, that religious knowledge will be taken away, and then secondly, ignorance will prevail. Number 3, drinking of alcoholic drinks will become common, and fourth, there will be prevalence of open illegal sexual intercourse. So zina is something that is unlawful for all, but especially if a person does it in old age, then it is worse, right? And then here in this verse, we see that the punishment of fornication is 100 lashes. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, don't feel in your heart, do not have a soft corner for them in your heart, right? Because the punishment is a punishment and they have to be given that punishment, right? And then we also learn that zina is something that will cause a person great humiliation on the day of judgment, right? First in this world and then also on the day of judgment. And then it has terrible consequences for a person in this life and then also in the next. This is why you can see in this ayah the zero tolerance for zina. No one is allowed to commit zina, right? No one at all, and the punishment is so severe, and its committal by a married person enhances the guilt all the more. Why? Because for him existed a lawful means of fulfilling his desires, but then he had a lawful method to fulfill his desires, but then he resolved for the unlawful. So the punishment for a married man who commits fornication is much more than unmarried people. الزاني لا ينكح إلا زانية أو مشركة. Let the fornicator not marry any except a fornicatress or idolatress, and let the fornicatress not marry any except a fornicator or an idolater. That is forbidden to the believers. So this tells us that believers are forbidden to give their daughters to such men who are known to possess immoral character, right? Likewise, on the other side, also that if a woman is like this, she should not be married to a man who is chaste, right? When it is clear that someone is a zani, it is known that this person has committed zina, then such marriages should not take place. And if you notice over here, zina and shirk are mentioned together, right? Then he should either marry a zania or he should marry a mushrika. Why? Because both shirk and zina, both of them are major sins. Both of them are serious sins, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned both of them together. وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَأْتُوا بِأَرْبَعَةِ شُهَدَاءَ. Those who accuse honorable women of unchastity but do not produce 4 witnesses. flog them with 80 lashes, and do not admit their testimony ever after. They are indeed transgressors. So if you blame somebody of committing zina and then you're also not able to produce 4 witnesses, then your punishment is 80 lashes, and then also you will not be ever, your testimony will not be ever taken again, right? So the thing is that if somebody is doing zina, they're doing it behind closed doors. So even if you know that somebody committed zina, you still cannot produce 4 witnesses. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here He says that slandering a person is a huge sin, and unless and until you can bring 4 witnesses, right, don't come forward, otherwise you are the one who will be punished. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ تَابُوا مِن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ وَأَصْلَحُوا, except those of them that repent thereafter and mend their behavior, for surely Allah is most forgiving, ever compassionate. Right? So we are taught to respect other people's honor, not to attack other people's honor, right? So we have to be very, very careful. And people then who repent, then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most forgiving. وَالَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ أَزْوَاجَهُمْ, as for those who accuse their wives of unchastity and have no witness except themselves, the testimony of such a one is that he testifies swearing by Allah 4 times that he is truthful in his accusation. So over here, the process of li'an is given, which is an exceptional situation, right, where the husband accuses the wife of zina. So if in that case he cannot produce any witnesses, right? But then he's the husband, he saw it, and if he's the only witness, then in that case, what is he going to do? The man is going to swear 4 times that indeed he is of the truthful. 4 times he has to swear in the name of Allah. وَالْخَامِسَةُ وَالنَّارُ عَنَدَ اللَّهِ, and the 5th time that the curse of Allah be on him if he be lying in his accusation, right? So it's like taking an oath. 4 times he is taking an oath, 4 times he is swearing by Allah that my wife did this, and the 5th time he is saying that the curse of Allah be on me if I am lying, right? And then the punishment shall be awarded from the woman if she were to testify, swearing by Allah 4 times that the man was lying, right? So the woman is guilty. If the man swears by Allah, and if he does the process of li'an, and the woman is proved guilty, then it's established, right? But what if he's making this up, right? Doesn't she have the right to defend herself, to maintain her innocence? So how can she do that? She can do it by the same way, and the punishment shall be averted from the woman if she were to testify, right? And the 5th time that the wrath of Allah be on her if the man be truthful in accusation. So the same goes for her. She has to take the oath 4 times. She has to swear by Allah the 4 times, and the 5th time she has to say that the curse of Allah be on me if I am lying, right? The curse of Allah be on me if I am lying. So this means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given equal opportunity to both the husband and wife to defend themselves. وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ, were it not for Allah's bounty and His mercy unto you, that Allah is much prone to accept repentance and is wise, you would have landed yourselves into great difficulty on the question of unsubstantiated accusation of your spouses. So this means this is purely Allah's mercy. This is why He's given you these commands. If He had not given you these commands, your life would become very difficult, right? So with Quran, the process of li'an that is mentioned over here, we see that the man accuses the wife by swearing oaths, and if she declares her innocence, then she has to swear oaths in return in her defense, right? And after this, both are freed from one another, meaning they are separated from each other. The marriage comes to an end. Why? Because this kind of marriage cannot continue. In marriage, what is the main thing? It's trust. And if the husband and wife cannot trust one another, if they are not loyal to each other, then the marriage cannot continue for long. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ جَاءُوا بِالْإِفْكِ أُصْبَةٌ مِّنْكُمْ, surely those who invented this calumny are a band from among you, right? This means there are people from among you, and they are the ones who made this lie, right? The following ayat, then these verses are about the incident of Ifk. Ifk means to lie, and this incident is called the Great Lie. And what was the Great Lie? Let's go through the history of the surah as well. This happened in the time of Prophet ﷺ when once on a journey which was the Ghazwa Banu Mustalik, right? The Prophet ﷺ was going in a particular expedition, and whenever you would go on an expedition, he would take along with him one of his wives, right? So this time it was the turn of Hazrat Aisha radhiyallahu anha. So they went on a journey, and this is a battle, right? There's a battle going on. So when she took with herself the necklace that she was wearing. And then what happened from the return of the journey back to Medina, the Prophet ﷺ, he had the Muslims rest for some time. And over here, Aisha radiallahu anha, she got off her camel and she went to use the bathroom. And when she returned to sit back on her camel, she realized that her necklace was missing. So she went back in order to look for it, and she went for a while and she couldn't find it, right? But when eventually she returned, she saw that everybody had left. Because when they came and they took her camel, they probably didn't ask, they didn't have a conversation with her, nothing, right? They just took the camel and they didn't realize that Aisha radiallahu anha was not in there. So she stayed over there, she just lied down over there and she slept thinking that when they will realize I'm missing, they will come back to look for me and eventually they will reach here. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she stayed over there until eventually one companion of the Prophet, he came by because it was his duty to stay behind the caravan, to stay behind the army, always to make sure that nothing had been forgotten. So as he came and saw Aisha radiallahu anha sleeping, he said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, loudly, because here is the wife of the Prophet. She has been left behind. So what happened? She just sat on her camel, and she just sat on his camel, and he brought her into Medina. Now, as they came, Abdullah bin Ubay, Abdullah bin Ubay had his own issues. He was very angry with the Prophet ﷺ because of certain things that happened in that journey. He tried to divide the army by the method of divide and rule, and then he was also a huge munafiq. And then he was supposed to be the king of Makkah, but then the Prophet ﷺ came and he was not left with anything else. So even though he was a Muslim, but then he was a hypocrite, he wanted to harm the Muslims from within. So he tried to make the most of this incident and he accused Aisha radiallahu anha to have committed zina with that companion. And then what happened? He just said that. However, everybody started thinking about it. Some people started talking about it and rumors began to spread, right? And then Aisha radiallahu anha, when she reached Medina, she fell ill and she was ill for an entire month, and during the whole time, she had no idea what people were talking about. But she noticed that the Prophet ﷺ was not the way he used to be always. There was something different over there, right? There was something strange going on with the Prophet ﷺ. He never confronted her even once. He would come and see how she was doing, spend some time with her, and then go. But she knew in her heart that something was not right. And then eventually she found out what was happening, and then she cried so much. And then she said, her tears didn't stop all night long. She wept and wept. And then she asked the Prophet ﷺ if she could go to her parents' house. So she went there. Until this point, she had not even confronted the Prophet, right? And by the way, because you want to confirm the news with her parents, right? So she went to her parents and her mother said, Oh Aisha, every wife who is loved by her husband, people are jealous of her. So don't worry, this is just people's jealousy for you, and get over it. But Aisha radiallahu anha, she cried a lot, and then eventually what happened? The Prophet came to see her, and he said to her that if you're innocent, then Allah will reveal your innocence, and if something wrong has happened, then just seek forgiveness from Allah. Right? Look at the heart of that husband, of that great man. Imagine Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was giving this option to his wife. He was saying, if you're innocent, Allah knows He will prove you to be innocent, and you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to cry. And if you have done something wrong, then you know what? Ask Allah for forgiveness and just repent, right? Simple. Look at the Prophet ﷺ over here. Aisha was very young, and she said, when she heard that, she said, you all have heard this so much that I have done something wrong. But if I were to tell you I am guilty, you would believe me. Right? And if I were to tell you that I'm innocent, you will never believe me. So I will only say what the father of Yusuf alayhi salam said, right? فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى مَا تَصِفُونَ. I will observe beautiful patience, and Allah's help is sought against what you say about me, right? So Aisha said that, then her tears just dried up. And in Ansari woman, she came in to see Aisha, and she cried, and Aisha cried. Both of them cried together. And then eventually we see that while Aisha was sitting at this time, the Prophet was there, Abu Bakr was there, and Aisha mother was there, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed these ayat establishing the innocence of Aisha radiallahu anha. And Allah says, indeed those who came with falsehood, Allah calls it falsehood, it's a lie. They are a group among you. Do not think it is bad for you. Do not think it's bad for you, right? Just imagine so much pain the Prophet ﷺ himself went through, because Aisha didn't know for an entire month, but the Prophet knew for him to have that sabr and that she's unwell and I should not disturb her. I should not talk to her about this. It will be difficult for her to have this conversation with me. He waited for so long. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not think it is bad for you. The fact is that no matter what happens in our life, no matter how painful it is, remember it is good for you. Allah will bring good from it, right? Meaning the one who invented this, who started all this, which is Abdullah bin Ubay, he's the hypocrite. For him is a great punishment. So what do we learn from this incident? That when something happens like this, when you're falsely accused of something, then just stay calm. If you're innocent, just stand your ground and be firm and don't get upset. It's very difficult, right? But if you're innocent, then have trust, have faith in Allah. He will defend you, because we learned earlier in Surah Al-Hajj as well that indeed Allah defends those who believe. And then Allah reprimands the Muslim community here. لولا إذ سمعتموه ظن المؤمنون والمؤمنات. When you heard of it, why did the believing men and women not think well of their own folk and say this is a manifest falsehood? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, as in, why did you not have a good opinion of the people of your own community, right? Why did you just not shun those people who were spreading all these rumors? Why did they not bring 4 witnesses in support of their accusation? Now that they have brought no witnesses, it is indeed they who are liars in the sight of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, did they bring 4 witnesses when they accused Aisha of the slander? No, they did not. And this is the hikmah why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that if you want to blame a woman first for fornication, you better bring 4 witnesses, right? Because a person could easily be accusing a woman out of personal motives and there would be no truth in it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, as long as you can bring 4 witnesses, come forward with the accusation. Otherwise, don't bother. وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ. Were it not for Allah's bounty and His mercy unto you in the world and in the hereafter, a grievous punishment would have seized you on account of what you indulged in. Just saying how wrong you were when one tongue received it from another, and you uttered with your mouth something you knew nothing about. You deemed it to be a trifle, while in the sight of Allah it was a serious matter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you received it with your tongues, meaning without even thinking about it. What you heard, you passed it on, right? And then you said with your mouth that of which you had no knowledge, because the fact is that was the third person over there was Aisha radiallahu anha, right? Was there any third person other than Aisha radiallahu anha and that companion? No, there was no third person. So you had no knowledge about it if you had witnesses, right? And you had no witnesses about it. How could you just start that claim? How could you just claim her of committing zina? There was nobody else over there. You did not see it. You did not have any witnesses. Accusing an innocent righteous woman is a crime. And this shows to us that careless use of the tongue is very, very dangerous, right? We have to be very careful about what we say with our mouth. And why no sooner than you had heard it did you not say, it becomes us not even to utter such a thing. Holy are you, O Allah. This is a mighty calumny. Allah admonishes you, if you are true believers, never repeat the like of what you did. So, why did you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, why did you not say, Subhanallah, this is not true? Why were you not shocked by even hearing something like this? Because hearing something like this about the wife of the Prophet could have done something like that. I mean, this is something so serious, right? So initially Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry at the people that how could you listen to such blames and such accusations? Why did you not say that, why did you not have a good opinion of your people? And then why did you not say that how could the wife of the Prophet do that? This is not possible. So Allah warns against turning to the likes of this conduct ever if you should be believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala admonishes you, if you're true believers, never repeat the like of what you did. Allah clearly expounds to you His instructions. Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. Verily those who love that indecency should spread among the believers deserve a painful punishment in the world and the hereafter. Allah knows what you do not know. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, people who want to spread punishment, who want to spread indecency, and what does it mean by spreading immorality, spreading indecency? It means that using words that are inappropriate, that are fahash, that one should not be uttering or think that a person should not really be talking about because they contradict modesty, right? This includes wearing clothing that is immodest or committing actions which are indecent, and then talking about indecent things like we saw in the previous verses about slanders and slandering other people, talking about love stories or love affairs. These are things that spread immorality, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like people who spread indecencies, right? The Prophet ﷺ said he hates the indecent person and the mutafahish person. And who is a mutafahish person? The person who is striving to perform acts of indecency and who is also spreading indecency. And remember that this is something that contradicts our culture, and the Islamic culture is the culture of haya. And then we also read that every person in the world is born with the natural haya, and whoever tries to go against it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like it. So for them there is a huge punishment, right, for those who spread indecency. وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ, were it not for Allah's bounty and His mercy unto you, and that Allah is most forgiving and wise, the evil that had been spread among you would have led to terrible consequences. Believers, do not follow in Shaitan's footsteps. Let him who follow in Shaitan's footsteps remember that Shaitan bids people in indecency and evil. Were it not for Allah's bounty and His mercy unto you, not one of you would have ever attained purity. But Allah enables whomsoever He wills to attain purity. Allah is all hearing, all knowing. So this fahash, this indecency, whether it is in clothing or in thinking, in speech or in actions, in behavior, this is from who? This is from Shaitan. And Allah hears what he say. He knows what we do. So we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness all the time. وَلَا يَأْتَلِي أُولُو الْفَضْلِ مِنْكُمْ وَالسَّعَةِ, let those among you who are bounteous and resourceful not swear to withhold giving to the kindred, to the needy, and to those who have forsaken their homes in the cause of Allah. Rather, let them forgive and forbear. Do you not wish that Allah should forgive you? Allah is ever forgiving, most merciful. So, one companion, Mista, he was a muhajir, right? And he was also a relative of Abu Bakr radiallahu anha, and he was related to Aisha radiallahu anha, right? So, and on top of that, Abu Bakr radiallahu anha used to financially aid him. And when Mista participated in the slander, Abu Bakr was so hurt, he said, from now onwards, I'm not going to give Mista anything, right? But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala interceded for Mista over here, that once tawbah is done, the had was carried out, then forgive and let go. And Abu Bakr agreed. So what happened? He started giving Mista again, and in fact he gave him more than what he used to give before, because he was giving for whose sake? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَرْمُونَ الْمُحْصَنَاتِ الْغَافِلَاتِ الْمُؤْمِنَاتِ, those that accuse chaste, unwary, believing women have been cursed in the world and the hereafter, and a mighty chastisement awaits them. Let not be heedless of the day when their own tongues, their hands, and their feet shall all bear witness against them as to what they have been doing. So, if you blame somebody today without any reason, without any witness, if it's a false accusation, your tongues, your ears, your hands, everything is going to testify against you on the day of judgment. On that day, Allah will justly requite them, and they will come to know that Allah and He alone is the truth, the one who makes the truth manifest. الخبيثات للخبيثين والخبيثون للخبيثات. Corrupt women are for corrupt men, and corrupt men are for corrupt women. So this means that impure men are a fit match for impure women, and pious men are a fit match for pious women, right? If the balance is destroyed, they cannot live a successful life. Also, this is an indication that Prophet ﷺ, he was the most pious and the most righteous out of all of them, right? How could he be living with an unchaste woman? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comforts him, and He also comforts us that if you are pious, then you are blessed with a pious spouse as well. So this again, this proves the modesty of Aisha radiallahu anha. Good women are for good men, and good men are for good women. They are innocent of the calumny people utter. There shall be forgiveness for them and a generous provision. So this means that whoever, if there's a good woman, she will be blessed with a good man, and if there's a good man, he will be blessed with a good woman, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give them a noble provision as well. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, believers, enter not houses other than your own houses until you have obtained the permission of the inmates of those houses and have greeted them with peace. This is better for you. It is expected that you will observe this. So this is a basic etiquette that we need to follow. We have to respect people's privacy. Then if you find no one in them, do not enter until you have been given permission to enter. And if you are told to go back, then do go back. This is a purer way for you. Allah knows all what you do, right? So entry into an empty house is not allowed at all unless permitted. And remember that the house over here doesn't just apply to a house, it also applies to somebody's private space. So for example, a bedroom, if somebody has closed the door, don't just walk in. Especially when it comes to a married couple, don't just walk in, take permission, and if you're told to go back, then go back. Don't get offended over there, right? Don't start yelling at them from behind the door. No. However, it is not blameworthy for you if you enter houses that are uninhabited, but wherein there is something of use to you. Allah is well aware of what you disclose and what you conceal. So this means public places. If you enter them without permission, then there's no harm in that. O Prophet, enjoin believing men to cast down their looks and guard their private parts. That is purer for them. Surely Allah is well aware of all what they do. So men are ordered first because they need to observe modesty also. So generally we think that modesty is to be observed by who? Only by women. This is only for girls. But who is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses first? The men. Men first, right? Men first. Usually they say ladies first, right? But in this regards, men first. They should lower their gaze and they should guard their private parts, right? Allah knows, you see, guarding the eyes is basically guarding your iman. The Prophet ﷺ said, 3 kinds of eyes will not see the fire on the day of judgment. The eye that weeps from the fear of Allah. Number 2, the eye that guards in the way of Allah. And number 3, the eye that was lowered from prohibited matters, right? This means that something haram came up and the person, what did he do immediately? He lowered his gaze. So these eyes who are guarded in this earth, they will not see fire on the day of judgment. And then in another hadith we learn that the Prophet ﷺ said to Ali radiallahu anha that do not give a second look. Ali, do not give a second look, right? Meaning accidentally something comes in front of you or you don't realize and all of a sudden you find something haram in front of you, then what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to look away. Why? Because the second look is haram. That is wrong, right? You're not blamed for the first one, but the second one you are responsible for it because a mistake made once is a mistake. But a mistake made twice is not a mistake, it's a decision. And then we also know, and then here we also need to establish the fact that the first look that is forgiven, which is considered a mistake, does not mean that it has to be a long glare, right? You know, if you just look at something, you need to look away immediately. But if you keep looking at it, and then just think it was your first glance, then that also counts. It also comes under the zina of the eyes. وَقُلِ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنَّ, and enjoin believing women to cast down their looks and guard their private parts and not reveal their adornment except that which is revealed of itself, right? So now comes commandments for girls. So this means that even women have to lower their gaze, right? And then tell the women that they should also guard their private parts. They should also protect themselves from zina. And they should not expose their bodies. They should not wear such clothes which, despite wearing, reveal them, right? And this means that a woman's beauty, which is her body, her clothes, her hair, she should not expose it to people who are just going to enjoy it and then move on. No, your body is for you. It is for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given it as an amana. It is not for other people's pleasure. It is not for their enjoyment. So women should not display their adornment except for that adornment that appears naturally, necessarily, meaning there's no way of hiding it, right? Example, height. You cannot hide your height, right? And then you cannot hide your hands all the time, and you cannot hide your feet all the time. So these things are okay, but you have to guard your body most of the time, all of it. You have to cover the sattar. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, the worst of your women are mutabarrijat, right? Mutabarrijat are those who are decked out, who are displaying adornment. Like when they go out, they dress up in order to attract attention, right? And then al-mutakhailat, those who walk with pretense also, right? They walk in a manner to gain more attention. They are the munafiqat. None will enter Jannah from among them except for the red-beaked and the footed crow. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْيَضْرِبْنَ بِخُمُرِهِنَّ عَلَى جُيُوبِهِنَّ. And they should wrap a portion of their head covers over their chests, right? So khimar is the word used here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you should take a part of that, khimar. You should take a part of khimar and then cover your chest with it, right? They should conceal it, meaning the headscarf should not just be on the head, a part of it should also be covering the chest, right? And sometimes we wrap our scarves in a way that it doesn't even cover our chest properly. It doesn't even cover our shoulders properly. So it completely defeats the purpose of hijab, right? And then the verse continues, they should not expose their adornment except to their husbands or their brothers or their fathers-in-law, their sons, their husbands' sons, their brothers' sons, their sisters' sons, their women, and that which their right hand possesses, right? Over here, slaves are meant and not servants, or those male attendants having no physical desire. And this is talking about men who don't have any physical desire left, right? Given their physical condition, their extreme old age, right? Or children who are not yet aware of the private aspects of the women, but meaning little boys. But if they have learned about these things through movies, through some school curriculum, then we should observe hijab in front of them as well. And let them not stamp their feet to make known what they conceal of their adornments. Meaning when they walk with that hijab on, they should walk modestly. They shouldn't wear a really tall high heel. Bringing attention, making noise with each step. No. Likewise, when they walk, their hidden zina, it should not be exposed, right? And what is the hidden zina? It means the beauty that's covered. For example, if a woman is covering her body, but then when she walks, she really stomps her feet, right? So that her body shakes. That is not correct, right? So she's walking in a way that her hijab is flying behind her and the abaya is flying on the other side. If she's doing a catwalk or something, no. Be careful about your walk, especially when you have your hijab and your abaya on. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, turn to Allah in repentance, all of you believers, right? Why? Because as women especially, when it comes to the matter of hijab, there are many times when we make mistakes, right? Sometimes the hijab is see-through, sometimes it is attracting more attention instead of concealing beauty, sometimes it is defeating the purpose. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, repent and seek forgiveness. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ, so that you are successful. وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامِ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ. Marry those of you that are single, whether men or women, and those of your male and female slaves that are righteous. If they are poor, Allah will enrich them out of His bounty. Allah is immensely resourceful, all-knowing. So meaning those people who have reached a marriageable age and a suitable match is found for them, then get them married. Then they should accept it and not get stuck in, finding faults and imperfections in the other one. And you see, delaying marriage without a valid reason is also a cause of many problems. So get them married as soon as possible. Let those who cannot afford to marry keep themselves chaste until Allah enriches them out of His bounty. And write out a deed of manumission for such of your slaves that they desire their freedom instead of payment. If you see any good in them, and give them out of wealth that Allah has given you. And do not compel your slave girls to prostitution for the sake of the benefits of worldly life, the while they desire to remain chaste. And if anyone compels them to prostitution, Allah will be most pardoning, much merciful to them after their subjection to such compulsion. So meaning there's no way for a person to get married. If there's no way, then if he doesn't find a suitable match and it's taking so long, so then that does not justify them for doing haram. They still have to guard their modesty. They still have to be chaste, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you have to guard your chastity. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says if a slave wants to buy their freedom, help them buy their freedom. And if there's a woman who's being forced into prostitution, then remember that there's something unlawful, because why would you have a business like that, right? So the woman who is forced into prostitution, she's not sinful because she is forced into it. And however the person who is forcing her, whoever the person is forcing her, he is fully responsible for that. وَلَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ آيَاتٍ مُبَيِّنَاتٍ. Verily we have sent down for you revelations which clearly expound the true guidance and examples of those who passed away before you, and an admonition for those who fear Allah. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. His light in the universe may be likened to a niche wherein is a lamp, and the lamp is in the crystal which shines as in a starlight brilliance. It is lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree, that is neither eastern nor western. Its oil will nigh glows forth itself, though no fire touched it. Nur ala nur, light upon light. Allah guides to His light whom He wills. Allah sets forth parables to make people understand. Allah knows everything. So here, the nur is Allah's light, which He knows the reality of His stuff, His attribute. Then light is also the guidance, the iman that Allah bestows upon His servants. He gifts them with, right? And the light is Allah's light is illuminating the world, right? Its example is like that of a lamp in a niche, so that its surroundings are illuminated. And when the light of iman enters and settles in the heart, then what happens? It illuminates the heart. And if the lamp continues to receive its supply of olive oil, then the lamp never dies and its light never extinguishes. Likewise, the believer does not let this faith extinguish. So he has a continuous flow of ilm and nafi, beneficial knowledge, so that the lamp of iman is always alight. And then we see over here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides whomsoever He wills. The heart of a believer is illuminated, enlightened, and the heart of a disbeliever is in darkness. The one with ilm is in light, and the one in jahl is in zulma. He is in darkness. So he who believes in Allah should learn the ilm al-nafi that Allah has given. Why? So that the nur enters his heart. It transforms his actions, and with that his surroundings also get illuminated because of his good ikhlaq. And this is only possible when a person continuously strives for this cause and continuously takes in the supply of pure olive oil of beneficial knowledge. فِي بُيُوتِ أَذِنَ اللَّهُ أَن تُرْفَعَ وَيُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ. Those who are directed to the light are found in houses which Allah has allowed to be raised and wherein His name is to be remembered. In them people glorify Him in the morning and in the evening. People whom neither commerce nor striving after profit diverts them from remembering Allah, from establishing prayer and from paying zakah. People who dread the day on which all hearts will be overturned and eyes will be petrified. لِيَجْزِيَهُمُ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنَ. People who do all this so that Allah may reward them in accordance with the best that they did. Indeed, He will bestow upon them more out of His bounty, for Allah grants whomsoever He wills beyond all measure. So here are certain qualities of the believers are mentioned, right? Who are these people who have this nur of iman, of hidayah? They are the people who are not distracted from prayer because of what? Because of their worldly occupations. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ. But for those who deny the truth, their deeds are like a mirage in the desert, which the thirsty supposes to be water until he comes to it, only to find that it was nothing. He found instead that Allah was with him, and he paid his account in full. Allah is swift in settling the account. So here this world is like a mirage, right? From far it looks so beautiful, so attractive, but it's a deception. A person keeps chasing this world, but he never gets there. He never attains any success, and in this chase he dies, and it's too late to go back and make amends, right? So those who disbelieve, their life is like this, that all their life they are pursuing, they are running after a mirage. And what happens? Do you even find a drop of water there? No, nothing at all. All you find is just sand, emptiness, and that's exactly what a disbeliever will find in the hereafter, that the worth of his life will be what? Nothing. Nothing at all. From far he thought he was doing a lot of good stuff, but at the end he will find nothing. أَوْ كَظُلُمَاتٍ فِي بَحْرٍ لُجِّيٍّ. Or its similitude is that of depths of darkness upon an abysmal sea, covered by a billow, above which is a billow, above which is cloud, creating darkness piled one upon another. When he puts forth his hand, he would scarcely see it. He to whom Allah assigns no light, he will have no light. So this means extremely deep seas. See that you can't even tell how deep it is, and on top it is covered by waves, right? And then there's a storm in the middle of the ocean, one layer of darkness over the other, so dark that he can barely see himself, right? So for him there is no light, and where there is darkness in the heart, then that person has no beneficial knowledge. And then darkness in the people that he is living amongst, he doesn't see anything that will lead him to light. He doesn't hear anything that will lead him to light, right? And the person whom Allah does not grant light, for him there is no light. أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يُسَبِّحُ لَهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ. Do you not see that Allah, that all that is in the heavens and the earth, even the birds that go about spreading their wings in sight, extol His glory. Each knows the way of its prayer and of its extolling Allah's glory. Allah is well aware of whatever they do, right? So they are doing the tasbih. These birds, when they're flying, they're doing the tasbih. They're glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this month, especially, we also need to make this habit of glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Force yourself if you have to. Busy yourself in the dhikr of Allah, in the tasbih, morning and evening. Again, we read that the two words that are the lightest on the tongue and the heaviest on the scales are Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi Subhanallahi al-Azim. So just like the birds, they glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala evening and night, morning and evening, we need to develop that habit as well. وَلِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah is the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and to Him are all destined to return. Do you not see that it is Allah who gently drives the clouds, then He joins them together and then turns them into a thick mass, and thereafter you see raindrops fall down from its midst, and then He sends down hail from the heaven, thanks to mountains, and causes it to smite whom He wills, and averts it from whom He wills. The flash of His lightning almost takes away His sight. It is Allah who alternates the night and the day. Surely there is a lesson in it for those that have sight. وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَ كُلَّ دَعْبَةٍ مِّن مَّاءٍ. Allah has created every animal from water. Of them, some move on their bellies, some move on 2 legs, and some on 4. Allah creates whatever He wills. Surely Allah has power over everything. لَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا آيَاتٍ مُبَيِّنَاتٍ. Verily we have sent down revelations that clearly explain the truth. Allah guides whomsoever He wills to a straight way. They say, we believe in Allah and the Messenger and we obey, but thereafter a faction of them turns away from obedience. These indeed are not believers. So who are not believers? Those who just say they believe, but they don't show that they believe, right? Who is the person who shows that? Yes, he's actually a true believer, the one who changes his action, the one who transforms, the one who obeys the orders of Allah. So the hypocrites, they hear, but they don't obey. وَإِذَا دُعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. When they are called to Allah and His Messenger, that is, the Messenger may judge the disputes among them, a faction of them turns away. So, saying no, we don't want to hear what the Quran says. However, if the right is on their side, they come to Him professing their submissiveness. So, this means if they get something from the Quran, if something is in their favor, then yes, they will go and memorize those verses and quote them. But if it's against them, they would say, we don't want to listen to it. أَفِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. Do their hearts suffer from the disease of hypocrisy, or have they fallen prey to doubts? Or do they fear that Allah and His Messenger will wrong them? Nay, the truth is that they themselves are wrongdoers. So, do they feel that these commands are unfair? They're not unfair. You are unfair to think that Allah's law is unfair, right? When those that believe are called to Allah and His Messenger in order that He may judge their disputes among them, nothing becomes them but to say, we hear and we obey. سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. Such shall attain true success. May Allah make us amongst those سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. When they hear, they obey. When they hear a command of Allah, they are the first ones to obey. وَمَن يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. Those who obey Allah and His Messenger and fear Him and avoid disobeying Him, such indeed shall triumph. The hypocrites swear by Allah, if you order us, we shall surely go forth and fight in the cause of Allah. Tell them, do not fear. The state of your obedience is known. Allah is well aware of all that you do. Meaning, don't try to satisfy with words. We know what you are capable of. قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ. Say, obey Allah and obey the Messenger. But if you turn away, then know well that the Messenger is responsible for what he has been charged with you, and you are responsible for what you have been charged with. But if you obey him, you will be guided to the right way. The Messenger has no other responsibility but to clearly convey. So this means that the Messenger's job was to convey. He conveyed. Your job is to listen and follow. So are you doing that? If you're not doing that, then the responsibility does not come on the Messenger. وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Allah has promised those of you who believe and do righteous deeds that He will surely bestow power on them in the land, even as He bestowed power on those that preceded them, and that He will firmly establish their religion, which He has been pleased to choose for them, and He will replace with security the state of fear that they are in. Let them serve me and associate none with me in my divinity. Whoso thereafter engages in unbelief, such indeed are the ungodly. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises that I will replace their fear with security, that this fear will only be there for how long? Just for some time. Very soon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easier. But this is for who? Those who obey Allah, those who are firm in their obedience to Allah. Then Allah will give them security in this world, inshallah. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, establish prayer and pay zakah and obey the messenger so that mercy may be shown to you. Do not even imagine that those who disbelieve can render Allah powerless in the land. Their abode is the fire. What an evil abode. Believers, at 3 times let those whom your right hands possess and those of your children who have not yet reached puberty ask leave of you before entering your quarters, before the morning prayer, and when you take off your clothes at noon, and after their night prayer. These are the 3 times of privacy for you. If they come to you at other times, then there is no sin for them, nor for you have to visit one another frequently. Thus does Allah clearly explain His directives to you. Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. So this means children should not just walk in the bedroom of parents without permission at these 3 times, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these are commands pertaining to modesty inside the house, right? Haya even inside the house. There's haya outside the house, and then there's haya inside the house, right? So when you go to their room, you take permission from them. وَإِذَا بَلَغُوا الْأَطْفَالُ, and when your children attain puberty, let them ask leave to come to you like elders used to ask leave. Thus does Allah clearly explain to you His signs. He is all-knowing, all-wise. So now the children, once they reach puberty, then they have to seek permission at all times when they are entering the house or they're entering the bedrooms. The women who are past their youth and can no longer bear children and do not look forward to marriage will incur no sin if they cast off their outer garments without displaying their adornment. But if they remain modest, that is still better for them. Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing. This means that women who are post-menstrual age, who have no desire for marriage, so then they are exempted. لَيْسَ عَلَى الْأَعْمَى, there is no blame on the blind, nor any blame on the lame, nor any blame on the sick, nor on yourselves that you eat in your own houses, or your father's houses, or your mother's houses, or your brother's houses, or the houses of your sisters, or the houses of your father's brothers, or the houses of your father's sisters, or in the houses of your mother's brothers, or in the houses of your mother's sisters, or in the houses whose keys you possess, or the house of a friend. There is no blame if you eat together or separately, but when you enter such houses, greet each other with a salutation appointed by Allah, a salutation that is blessed and good. Thus does Allah expound His signs to you in order that you will act with understanding. So these relatives are mentioned over here, that when you go to their house, there's nothing wrong if you eat food, because in some cultures it's considered wrong if you go to your daughter's house. See, she's married, oh, be careful about how much we eat there, don't eat freely, be pretentious. No, this kind of pretense that really makes life difficult, so there's no need to do this, there's no piety in this. And at the beginning of the ayah, where the disabled are mentioned, what does that show? That just because a person is suffering from a disability, they should not be excluded from social gatherings. They should also be included. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best food in the sight of Allah is that which the most hands share, right? There's more barakah in that. So meaning the food may be little, but there's a lot of people who want to eat from it. That is the best food in the sight of Allah. So we are given all these relatives and we can share our food with them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes that. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, the true believers are only those who sincerely believe in Allah and His messenger, and who whenever they are with Him on some common errand, they do not go away until they have asked leave of Him. Verily those who ask leave of you, it is they who truly believe in Allah and His messenger. So if they ask your leave in connection with some of their affairs, give leave to those whom you will, and ask Allah for forgiveness on their behalf. Surely Allah is much forgiving, ever merciful, right? This means take permission before you leave. And these are also basic etiquettes that we need to implement in our lives as well. لا تجعلوا دعاء الرسول. O Muslims, do not make the calling of the messenger among you as you're calling one another. Allah knows well those of you who surreptitiously steal away, taking shelter behind one another. Let those who go against the order of the messenger beware, lest a trial or severe punishment afflict them. So this means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not make the call of the messenger among yourselves as the call of one of you to another, of an ordinary average man to another, right? He needs to be given his due respect. Because when the Prophet ﷺ would call the people, they would come. But the hypocrites among them, what would they do? They would just quietly slip away. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, let those beware who descend from the Prophet's order, let a fitna strike them, or a painful punishment, meaning disobeying the Prophet ﷺ, not following the Sunnah, can put one in great fitna, even in this life, and this is very, very dangerous. Allah inna lillahi ma fis samawati wal ard. Lo, who whatsoever is in the heavens and the earth belongs to Allah. He is well aware of your ways, and the day when they will be returned to Him, He will tell them all what they did. Allah knows everything. So the fact is that we cannot hide from Allah. He created us, He knows us, He has ordered us, and we should be most concerned about our position near Him, our image near Him. And a person, when he rectifies his relationship with Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also take care of his affairs. But when a person does not give the haqq of Allah, then what will happen? He is choosing loss and failure in this world and the hereafter. This marks the end of Surah An-Nur. We will inshallah start Surah Al-Furqan tomorrow. Let's just go through quickly the theme of juz number 18. The basic theme was qualities of muflihun and heirs of Jannah, and then khushu in salah and preserving it, and then dunya is a testing place to prepare for the akhirah, and that we have to obey the commands of Allah since they are fard on us, and then character traits of mu'mineen and mu'minat. And now let's put our knowledge into action. I will improve the condition of my heart in salah and maintain a higher level of guarding it with regularity and punctuality, and I will try to offer my salah with khushu in it. I will watch the state of my heart when giving charity or spending my time in ibadah. Does it feel humble and fearful about its acceptance? And then I will make a conscious effort to screen out all exposure of vulgar scenes or verbal indecency on media for me and my family. And I will observe the etiquettes of modesty and visiting others as heard in Surah An-Nur. I will memorize ayah 97 and 98 of Surah Al-Mu'minun for protection from Shaitan's whispers. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.